Okay, so good day. So as I have mentioned, we have two types of variable, the qualitative and the quantitative variable. And if the variables now are quantitative, we can still classify the variable whether it is discrete or continuous variable. And we can also classify variables according to experimental classification, and the other one is mathematical classification. So for experimental classification, it is according to the function of the variable in the experiment. So it can be independent variables when the variable now can be controlled and it is explanatory. So for instance, like demographic profile. So usually demographic profile falls within independent variables. And for the dependent variable, these are the variable that is or that are affected now by the independent variables. Well, for mathematical classification, so these are variables similar with the quantitative variables, the continuous and the discrete. So, as mentioned, continuous variables are obtained by measuring, while discrete variables are obtained by counting. So let us also discuss the levels of measurement. So first we have the nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. So these are arranged from the lowest level of measurement to the highest level of measurement. Okay, so for our nominal variable, so it classifies elements into two or more categories or classes. So we know that they differ from each other, but there's no numbers involved. Or if numbers are involved, it is only used for just to show that one differ from the other. So it is just codes, like for instance, when we encode sex, one male to female, but it does not mean that that male is lower than female because two is assigned to female. So it's just an assignment just to show that male is different from female. And so we have an example of nominal. So the distribution of patients in XYZ hospital according to religion and gender. So the nominal variables here are religion and gender. And then for the ordinal variable, so this is the uh, categorical variable also that can be ranked. So it possesses degree. So example, our IQ level of students enrolled in certain schools. So we also have socioeconomic status. So nominal and ordinal variables are categorical variables. Nominal variables are categorical variables without rank, while if it's ordinal, we can arrange it from lowest to highest or highest to lowest. So it has a degree. But it does not involve also number because as I have mentioned, it is also categorical. Next, for interval, interval variables are quantitative variables. So it's already numbers. The difference between interval variable and ratio is that for interval variable, there is no absolute zero. And when we say that it is absolute zero, it means that if it is zero, it is the absence of the measurement. So we have here an example. So temperature. 0 degree temperature does not mean absence of temperature. So when you are classifying, when your variable is either interval or ratio, always set it into 0 and ask yourself if, does it mean that if it is 0, there's no more measurement or it's already the absence of measurement. So in the case of temperature, 0 does not mean that there is no temperature because interval has no absolute 0. And then next, for ratio, so it possesses the characteristics of the interval, except that it has an absolute zero. So it is also a quantitative variable. So it involves numbers, but it has an absolute zero. So which means if it is zero, it is the absence of the measurement. So let's say height. So if the height is zero, the weight is zero, the volume of zero, it means that there's no height, there's no weight, there's no volume. Or let's say, for instance, the speed of a car. So the speed of a car is 0 meter per second. So it means that it's no longer moving. So it's the absence of the speed. So which means that the speed is ratio and it is not interval. Okay, next. Let us also define population. So population refers to a group of people, animals, places, things, and ideas. So when we are asked the question, what is the population, we usually answer it with a number. But in fact, population refers to the group. It does not refer to the number. So the number is the population size. So like, for example, in school, so what's the population of your school? It means that the population of the schools are the students, the teachers, the employees in the school. And the population size of the students refers now to the number of students enrolled in the school. Okay, so in statistics or research, it refers to all the members of the group in which to draw conclusion. While sample now refers to the subgroup, portion, or part of the population. So it is the selected individuals to respond to the study. So we have also parameter. It is the numerical measure that describe a characteristic of a population. So when we are describing the population, which means the descriptive statistics or the numbers that describe now the population, is called the parameter. So example, the mean score of the students in St. Mary's University is 75. The passing score is 50. So the students of SMU is the population. So since we are describing the population, it means that 75, this number 75 is parameter. While if we change now the example into the mean score of the freshman students of HRM is 75, the passing score is 50, and freshman students of HRM is the sample drawn from students of SMU. So HRM students or sample. So we are now describing the sample, which means 75 is no longer a parameter, but it is statistics. Okay, so let's try some exercises. So tell whether the given variables are discrete or continuous. So the number of migrating foreigners in the Philippines every year. So this is counted. It can be counted, so it is discrete. The length of hair, it is measured. It is continuous variable. Telephone number. So how about telephone number? So you might answer that telephone number is discrete, but in fact, remember, telephone number is not quantitative variable. So which means we cannot classify whether it is continuous or discrete. So telephone number is neither discrete nor continuous variable. It is a qualitative variable because the number only represents identity. So it's just a unique number assigned so that, of course, if someone will call you using that telephone number, it will not ring, or it cannot call two different residents. So students enrolled in SMU. So this is again not complete. So if we say that the number of students enrolled in SMU, that is discrete. But if it's only students enrolled in SMU, so the possible values here or data set are the name of the students enrolled, which means, again, students enrolled in SMU are not discrete variable. It is not continuous variable. It is neither discrete nor continuous because the students enrolled in SMU are not quantitative. It is qualitative variable. Number 5, boiling point of water is 100 degrees Celsius. So obviously it's measured, so it is continuous variable. Density of sample substances, measured again, continuous variable. Height, continuous variable. Speed, continuous variable. Contents, in ounces, continuous variable. Number 10, anxiety level. So we have here a list of the names. Okay, so here, anxiety level is not, again, a quantitative. It's a qualitative variable. So the values are low, high, average. So it is not a quantitative, it is qualitative variable. So age in years, so is this discrete or continuous variable? So it's 1.2, 0.6, so it is in years, that's why there is a decimal point. So maybe your answer is that it is discrete. Why? Because the number of years. So how do you count for the number of years? How old are you? So you just simply count for the number of years. But remember that the measure of age is time. So you count for the time. So for instance, the number of years consists of 12 months. The number of months consists of 30 to 31 days. The number of days can be counted through the number of days, because of 24 hours, or every hour you count for, you reach 1 hour because of 60 minutes to seconds, and others. So which means age is being measured by time. So age is not discrete, it is a continuous variable. Number of coffee breaks, so similar to 11, again, it's being measured, time is measured, so number of coffee break hours per day is continuous variable. So let's identify now the type of variable as qualitative or quantitative. So age is quantitative, civil status is qualitative, nationality is qualitative, religion is qualitative, degree earned is qualitative. If, of course, we're referring to the total number of units earned, it's numbers, but does it represent now a quantitative variable? So every subject represents 3, or it is equivalent to 3 units. So degree earned in general are your courses, the courses that you finished. So it's qualitative. Number of dependents, quantitative. Gender, qualitative. Job applying for, qualitative. So let's also identify the scale of measurement, whether it's nominal, ordinal, interval, ratio. Name, obviously it's nominal. Age, so if we say it is 0 age, so does it mean that there is age? Of course, even if we use the lowest unit, minutes, seconds, milliseconds, or moment, every moment. So it's actually ratio. Height is ratio. Religion is nominal. socioeconomic